Leo, we just got now on the goalkeeper coach of TFC, Jon Conway, joining us. Jon, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, my pleasure. We've got Leo Molinelli of the Corriere Canadese joining us as well, the largest Italian newspaper in the city of Toronto and all of Canada. Jon, let's talk with you about the hard-hitting questions right off the bat. We understand you love red wine and a good slice of pizza. You've got a lovely wife at home that I'm sure does a great pizza, and I'm sure you provide the wine. Where do you go for a good slice of pizza, and what type of wine do you like to drink, Jon?
My pizza choice is Libretto or Toroni's. Both places I like very much, but I'm a big fan of Libretto over on Ossington. And then for wine, a nice Amarone would be nice.
Bravo, Jon. Absolutely outstanding to hear. The libretto's outstanding. Jon, let's talk about that win on the weekend. We don't have any more words, Leonardo, to describe Giovinco. It's unbelievable. So let's put that aside. 3 wonderful goals. But let's talk a little bit more about Bono. I got to tell you, Jon, straight up, I was really disappointed. Obviously, a lot of the people were, and he wasn't himself in that goal he let in against San Jose. But he's really adjusted. He's developed, and he's really shown a progress. What have you seen that he's gotten better and better each week out, that he's put that aside and forgotten about?
Yeah, obviously it's confidence. I mean, you look at that goal, and he gave up a bad one, and it was bad timing to give up a bad one based on sort of the circumstances of the game. And unfortunately, it happens. I mean, bad goals end up getting scored once in a blue moon, and goalkeepers take the brunt of it sometimes, and that was his. But what's exceptional on his part is that he was able to bounce back and put in a solid stretch of performances now, where he's now matured into the position a bit and has regained a confidence level that we expect from him, and has shown some maturity here as we've gone through these games.
Leo, go ahead, ask a question to Jon.
Hi, Jon.
Hey, how are you?
How did you help a young goalkeeper like Bono to overcome a mistake like that one that is pretty big, and how you help him to get back to on his own feet?
To bounce back from the bad goal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know many goalkeepers that go through a career that don't end up giving up one that they should have saved. And to be fair, I think most goalkeepers, anytime they give up a goal, would say to you, yeah, I could have probably done this better, I could have done that better, or I should have done this in this situation, or said this to a defender, or, could have done something to hedge the problem. In this case, obviously it was a goal that laid squarely on his shoulders, and he recognized that. He put his hand up and is like, hey, that's me. It's on me. And, and as I said, the moment that he gave that goal up wasn't a great moment because of the situation where the game was being up, 2 men at the time. That being said, we got back into work, a couple days later. And we just talked about it. I said, you're going to take him on the chin and we're going to move on. And that's sort of what we did. There's no real going back to a situation like that. There's no reason to address it again and again. We put it away, and it's in there, and we move on from there, and we come out the next game and put another good performance in. And it's just a matter of making sure that he was ready for that next game, and he went out and did well.
So, Jon, as a former goalkeeper yourself in MLS and a guy that's been through the ups and downs as a pro, after that game, do you leave him alone? Do you talk to him 24 hours later, 48 hours later? Do you explain what you saw? Do you break it down on film? Give us an insight of what you do as a goalkeeper coach in a situation so delicate like that.
I gave him a few, some time after the game, and then I just pulled him aside and told him a situation that occurred to me where I gave up one that was a lot worse than that, and told him that the best thing to do in that situation is, recognize that you made the mistake, you put your hand up, and you move on from there. And I just told him that was my mistake. I kind of tried not to take the full brunt of the goal, and I didn't try and I tried to deflect a little bit, and when I should have just put my hand up and as I said, taken on the chin. And I think that's that was something that I passed on to him based on my experiences. And as I said, I mean, you're going to go through a career where you're going to give up one like that, and it's going to happen. And he's a young kid who, at that point it was probably his third or fourth game, and it was the third game in a week. And when you're playing at the level that we need to be playing at in MLS, that the concentration needs to be at the highest as it can in every game, and you might see a dip, and there was a dip there, and he was able to recover from it.
John, let's talk about head coach Greg Vanney. I got to tell you, he's taken enough shots, not recently, but all year and even last year after that playoff loss. And look, I'm not here to defend him, but I will speak up where I see an injustice. And here's a guy that is down to earth. He's a guy that I'm positive the door is open for any player to walk in and discuss anything. I'm positive that this guy will go to bat for each and every one of his players. And this is what bugs me, John. You've been a pro. I haven't. And I would love to have a coach or a boss, just like I work here, go to bat for me and believe in me like he did with Bono again, and go with Bono the week after. I mean, that's got to say a lot to the whole dressing room to say, hey, the coach believes in me. He believes in this group. Let's fight for this guy. Let's pay this guy back. That's got to be great in there.
Yeah, I think it shows, the type of character that Greg has. I mean, Greg's loyal to his guys, and he believes in everything that he's doing, and he believes in everything that they're doing. I think it shows that he's got confidence in this group, and he'll give you a chance to go out and lay it on the line. And if it doesn't go right, he'll give you another chance, and you right your wrongs, and you go along, and you move on. So, as a coach, that sort of situation, we worked closely discussing and what we wanted to do, and in the end of the day, he made the correct decision, and I'm glad he did.
John, the team last season, we were talking before with Anthony, had one of the worst defense in the league. This season, you had I guess, if I'm not wrong, the third best defense.
Yep.
So how did you manage to get this improvement?
I think it's a combination of things. I think we put a effort in the preseason to let's start with the off season. We made an effort in the off season to make some changes and bring in some guys, and I think we brought in Clint Irwin, who's a good veteran goalkeeper in the league, even though he's still young, who's had good success in Colorado and has sort of come through the ranks all the way through, gaining experience at the lower levels and making his way to MLS, and is driven to be a very good goalkeeper. Then we brought in Drew Moore. Now, I can't say enough about Drew Moore. I think he's arguably, for me, best center back in the league. Just the way he handles the group, just the way he is a professional, and the way he reads situations, and the way he defends and makes the guys around him better. I think it's been tremendous, and that from that, we made an effort in the preseason to address our defending, make it a priority to not give up goals, and go out and defend our goal first. And we knew we'd get goals because obviously with Jovinko, he's going to score. Just get him enough chances, and he's going to put it away. So if we were able to keep a bat of ours, we knew we'd get one. And that was sort of the mindset in the preseason, and it's translated over to this point in the season where we've been, I think we have 9 shutouts on the year, which is a Toronto FC franchise high. I expect that to go a bit higher, obviously, and I hope we get into the 13, 14, 15 range by the end of the year. And obviously that's a goal that I have for the group, but I think the group is motivated to achieve that goal.
And you know what, John? All credit to you and the staff there. I know you're too humble to say anything on that, but I'll say it. All credit to you because, look, let's be honest. When Clint Irwin went down, a lot of us, myself included, and even Leo, we thought, oh boy, they're going to have a tough time getting into the playoffs. But you adjusted, you helped Bono, the youngster, focus. The whole group believed in him, even after that one game, and things have really turned around. Something that's been a mystery to me all these years, Jon. I've followed MLS since day one. And now recently, the last 5-6 years, we're seeing a lot of guys getting the opportunities overseas. Young guys like Mazinga, older guys, you name it, whether in Mexico and Europe and what have you. But we don't see enough goalkeepers from MLS get their shot in Europe, in South America, or Mexico. Look, I can name you off guys that I think should be getting a shot. Usted in Vancouver, Bill Hamid, Johnson, Robles, Clint Irwin, on and on. I think the goalkeepers aren't getting the respect they deserve, unlike some of the defenders and midfielders and forwards that are getting all the rumors out there in the transfer market. I'd like your thoughts on that.
My thoughts run pretty deep on this one because, in North America, we've produced very good goalkeepers. If you look across the board from, the old NASL days, Bob Rigby, was a tremendous goalkeeper through the NASL days. And then you move into the 80s where there was some good goalkeeping and it transcended into Friedel, Casey Keller in North America, predominantly the U.S. You have those guys who ended up going to Europe and having long careers in Europe. Then you got Tim Howard who ended up going over and having a long career. Now you got you got Brad Guzan of the U.S. team. In Canada, you had Craig Forrest go over for a long time and play. You got Kenny Stamopoulos over there now playing. And there's guys. North America does produce goalkeepers. We produce athletes. I think that's the key. We produce athletes, and goalkeeping is a very athletic position. Hand-eye coordination is key. I think the one thing that because the game has advanced the way it has, we're lacking just a little bit in just sort of tactical awareness. But as athletes and as goalkeepers who can go out and make saves, we definitely have that. That tide is turning. Again, though, I think when you talk about outfield players, money's paid for, guys that score goals and guys that are creative, and, not as much money is being paid for, goalkeepers no matter where you are. And, I think you can go over to Europe and you can get lost. You can go to a club and, things don't go your way, and then you get pigeonholed in sort of a, reserve role, and you just kind of waste away, where here you're playing week in, week out, and it's just a matter of finding the right situation at whatever country you think or want to go to. And I think a lot of times you're better off staying here and getting the games, and then when you are that good or that exceptional, somebody will come in and swoop you up. But until that point, going over and sitting behind guys or playing in reserve leagues and just kind of essentially wasting away, I just don't see it. So, and that's why I think a lot of these guys stick around here. And I'm not saying they can go over and fight and battle and work their way up, but the fact is they play week in and week out here. Yeah. And the level is at a good enough level where, European and first tier, second tier leagues are watching what's going on here. So I think it's interesting.
Jon, how is important for a team that is competing for the title the role of the goalkeeper? You had a long career, and what's your thought about that?
My thought is as a unit, defensively, you just have to be strong, and obviously that's the goalkeeper as well. He's got to come up with, the save once or twice a game that keeps his club in it and keeps his team in it to give him a chance to get a win. Obviously, the collective is much bigger than the individual, and I think collectively, defensively, from the midfield, the backs to the goalkeeper, we've been one solid unit who goes out with one objective, and that's to keep the other team off the board.
John, let me ask you this. I don't know if, I'm pretty sure you know what's in your system, but I don't know as of late if you've watched a lot of these youngsters. But I'm pretty close, and I've got a keen eye to watching a lot of your young guys in your system from the League One team to the younger ages. And I got to tell you, look, you're producing a lot of great talent in a lot of positions, but that goalkeeper position to me, again, John, sticks out. There's Catalano, Brogan Egbers. Who am I missing, John? But there's a bunch of guys there that are absolutely unbelievable, focused. They're acrobatic. They're mature for their age. I mean, I don't, not just the goalkeepers, but then I look at the kid that's 15 years old, Rocco Romeo, and I looked at this kid at the beginning of the year, and I said to this MLS scout that came up to me after the game, and he said, how old is that kid? 15? I said, and this kid will play in Europe, not in MLS. And he said, you're bang on. There's a lot of depth in that goalkeeper position, John. Talk about it.
Yeah, I know. We're pretty fortunate. We have some very good young goalkeepers. The guys that I have working with me on the goalkeeper, Luciano Lombardo and Phil Berger, have done a great job with our guys, along with last year having Alec Duffy here, who's now moved on to Sporting Kansas City. You know, good group of guys who really see where we want to go with these goalkeepers and what we need to do to get them to where they want to go. I mean, it's one thing to work with these kids and tell them where we think they can go, but it's working with them to, where they want to go and what they want to do, and push them to get better and learn the position. Now, we're very, as you said, you mentioned a few names, Brogan and Gianluca. We all have high hopes for both of them. We had Phil DiBernardo working with the USL team, who's another kid who's 19 years old. Unfortunately, he's gone down with a season-ending injury. But it's all these young guys that, provide competition amongst themselves, and having the progression that we have from academy team to League One team to USL team to the first team, I think is a huge value added. I mean, they see the pathway. The pathway's there. We talk about their pathways and how to get them to where they want to go, and then they have to go out and do the job. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go out and stop the ball from going in the back and then manage the defenders, manage the group in front of you, and manage the game. So,
John, speaking,
again, we've been very fortunate with the goalkeepers that we have, and we keep on looking forward to the future of what we can get out and get into the first team and get into the USL at TFC too.
John, speaking about young players, this season has been good so far for TFC also because a lot of young players like Hamilton or Chapman, even Osorio, are playing a lot, are developing a good performance. How is important for TFC this growth of these young players, and how is important for also for the Canadian movement in soccer?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a sort of a double-edged sword. It's a bit unfortunate we had so many injuries and guys were out, but at the end of the day, that gave these guys opportunities, young players opportunities, and they were able to seize those opportunities. And we've really created a squad of 25 guys that were 25 deep now. I mean, at any time, any of these guys can be called upon to go in, and it's not like, uh-oh, what are we going to get out of them? We know what we're going to get out of them now, and we know what we expect from them, and that's a huge advantage as we progress along, not only with the rest of the regular season, but hopefully with a deep playoff run. Is that you never know what's going to happen. You never know if the injury bug strikes again and we lose some guys. But what we do know is we have enough depth to deal with those injuries and still get the results that we need.
John, just before we let you go, we really appreciate your time, and we're thankful that you took the time to join us here on Red Card. But I want to pick your brain on something that we talked about here Monday night. I'm born and raised here, worked in the pros in the old North American Soccer League and the Canadian Soccer League. You're a former pro. You've traveled all over North America. Your wife does an outstanding job covering many different sports. But I know for a fact she loves the sport you work in and the sport that I love dearly, which is soccer. And to me, John, in the city of Toronto, the respect is not being paid to TFC. Not because you're on the line, John, but it's just not being paid to TFC with the wonderful work that Greg Vanny, yourself, and all the staff are doing. Another MVP season for Giovinco. Bill Manning and Tim Bazbachenko have done their job, and they're doing it well. You're 1 point out of first place. And all we keep hearing about last week was, will Sanchez go in the bullpen for the Jays, or will he start? People talk about the Argos, which I think is a waste of time. I don't need you to comment on it, John, but I got to tell you, I've traveled all over the US of A. This market is special. This market understands the game, and this market deserves more coverage. When your coaching staff and the players see guys like us in the press box, in the scrum, in the media room, and compared to other rooms, are you happy to see that, and are you shocked that the mainstream aren't giving the respect deserved?
I'm happy every game I show up to, and I walk out the tunnel to start the game, and the anthem comes on, and the guy sings the first verse, and 28,000 people go bonkers singing the national anthem. The chill that runs down my spine from that every game is something that I can't explain how amazing it feels to feel the energy at that moment. I think it's something that, you know, has to be intimidating to the opponents, but as a home team, feeling that is something that we can't thank the fans enough. And if other people don't want to come and be a part of that experience and be a part of the clap that they do or be a part of that, that's their choice. But I know the people that are there that come every week that are supporting us, we thank them. And I'm so happy to have them there, because those moments, when those things happen, the players feel it, the staff feels it, and that sort of stuff is tremendous, and I can't wait to see more people lining up to get into the games as the rest of the season goes and as we make a good run into the playoffs. As far as the media goes, it's great that you guys are there. I love the fact that you guys are helping us promote what we do. You know, and there's always going to be detractors. There's always going to be people saying that they're not into it for whatever reason, and that's fine. They can go and do whatever else. But those people that show up, those 28,000 people, I thank them every week for coming and doing what they do, because we feel it, the team feels it, I feel it, and as a fan...
You know, but John, in Orlando, let's take Orlando for example. I know for a fact on their sports broadcast, if they win a big game, they start the sports newscast with Orlando City. Their newspapers are at least a page deep or more with Orlando City. Let's talk about Kansas City, Portland. They get that respect. Here in the city of Toronto, John, I'm baffled. You're a point out of first place.
So a little bit of that though is listen, you name some cities, and those cities have, during football season, you won't hear a single peep about soccer in Kansas City, because it'll be the Chiefs off the bat or the Royals in the playoffs. They may get a sniff. I mean, you talk about all these, number one in the U.S., the NFL is king. And in Canada, hockey's king. And, you know, I ask my wife all the time, who's, you know, obviously in the business and does a lot of hockey, and she goes, listen, you're always going to be fighting this one with the hockey. You're not going to win. I mean, Canada is hockey. Hockey is Canada, and even now, you know, you're still going to get pushed behind, you know, an Austin Matthews story about what he's doing in the off season, or what he shot playing golf in a celebrity game somewhere.
And that bugs me, John. Honest to God, it bugs me, because again, here's Giovinco tearing it up. Here's TFC with a point out of first place. On and on. We can keep going on and on, John. Look, we understand hockey sits where it's at. But look, I got to give a lot of props and respect to Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment. And I'll tell you what, John. All they've done for the last number of years is signed the checks, kept their mouth shut, brought Giovinco, Bradley, Altidore over, and put a first-rate product on and off the field. So it's not their problem. They've done everything they could, John.
Oh, yeah. Listen, yeah, again, you're absolutely right. They put it out there. They put their money on the line, and they brought in the guys. They've redid the stadium.
But do you think is a more better coverage of the sports or the event could help increase maybe the number of people that is coming, or the number of people that is following, or as you said before, it's just that Canada loves hockey and soccer is something that you do when you have spare time?
You know, I don't want to say it's exactly that, but you know, there's there's diehard fans that won't miss a game, and there's diehard hockey fans that would rather watch, you know, a World Cup hockey game in September or wherever, that, you know, an under 18 game somewhere that doesn't really mean anything. And there's the same thing for soccer fans. Soccer fans would love to watch maybe a second tier game out of Italy or Spain or wherever, to see what's going on there. And you know what? I appreciate that. That's their passion, and that's what they want to do. You know, I think you can't force feed people this. If they're in, they're in, and that's great. And I'd rather have the loyal people that, you know, are there for the right reasons and are filling the stands week in, week out, than having a couple fans that kind of breeze through, and then the next thing you know, they're commenting about, you know, the beer was warm and the game was bad, or something went wrong at the game and they didn't enjoy their experience just because they're sourpusses. But, you know, I think for me, it's, you know, as long as the fans that are there and come and support us and are filling up those stands and are loyal to us and know what we're doing and enjoy what we're doing, and if we can bring a few more over that will jump on with us as we continue to win, which I think is very important when we talk about this, you know, it's something that I see happening. Obviously, you know, the club's history, I think, weighs into this a little bit as well.
I understand that, and I totally respect that, John. And this is where people throw in my face. Anthony, they haven't won. They've had so many losing seasons. They only got into one playoff game. They got spanked. I agree with all that. I understand that. But we're talking about the flippin' Argos all last year making the move to BMO because it's going to save their club. It's going to save their franchise and ruin the field at the same time. And they only attract 10,000 people. They were giving away free tickets in the parking lot, John.
Yeah, I mean, that's you know, something that they have to figure out if they want that to be filling up the stands like we have been filling up the stands for our games, you know. And I know they get a lot of coverage, and I think, you know, I think the one thing that's interesting is that's, you know, sort of Canada's league, which, you know, the major broadcasters put a lot of weight into. You know, TFC obviously plays in a North American league, I would guess, U.S. predominantly based league, and maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. I know that I'm grateful that, you know, we get the coverage that we do on TSN and Sportsnet, because they do, you know, their share to promote the game and get the game out.
Absolutely.
Ways.
Yep.
And I think you know, it's unfortunate that that isn't came back in having viewership maybe on those games from TV ratings, or maybe you know, getting more people into the stands because they saw a game on TV. You know, I say this all the time. You know, watching a game on TV is one thing, and I actually get bored watching games sometime on TV. But being there live is a whole nother thing for me. And going to a game and watching it live just is a whole nother experience. And I think, you know, once somebody who's only watched the game on TV decides to come down to BMO for a game, I think their experience will change and their viewpoints will change very quickly.
I couldn't agree with you more. John, just before we let you go, I want you to talk to the young kids out there. I know that you have a passion and a desire to speak to these young kids that want to become a goalkeeper and maybe go down to play in the NCAA colleges and university, maybe Europe, maybe MLS. And I know that you have a special connection with a lot of the young goalies you have there at TFC. You communicate, you take time, you help them. But talk to the other ones out there that might be struggling with their confidence, or maybe their youth coaches won't play them anymore because they gave up a big goal in a big game and they've lost confidence. Talk to them, John.
You know, for me, as a kid, you need to do one thing when you go out and play. There's only one rule for me. You need to have fun and make sure you have fun doing it. There's so much other pressures that these kids are under, and I think some of it is from coaches, from parents, from outside influences. They need to be able to go out and have fun. And when you go out and you have a good time and you enjoy yourself playing, you play better. And I want these kids to go out and enjoy themselves. I know you're going to lose. I know you're going to have a bad game, but it's one game. It's not the end of the world. There's going to be another game, and that next game you're going to go out and enjoy yourself, redeem yourself, and enjoy it. And the second thing I'm going to say is this, is all these kids, I really hope they pay attention to their academics. I hope they're doing their homework. I hope they're studying, because you need, as good as a soccer player that you think you are, at some point you're going to have to rely on something else in your life. And I hope you find that through your education and find a passion that not only in soccer but in some other field that at some point you can rely on, because that day will come no matter who you are or what you're doing. And it's important that you take care of your academics as well and give yourself the best opportunity to be successful not only on the field but in life.
Jon, you're a class act. We really appreciate the time you made for us tonight. Good luck the rest of the way. I have a gut feeling this year we'll see you in the finals in an MLS Cup, possibly here in Toronto's home field of BMO. And again, we thank you. And please do me a favor, give our best wishes to your wife. She's doing a great work down there at the Olympics, and she's always got a soft spot for the sport we love. So say hi to her. And again, we really appreciate the time you've made, Jon.
I will. Thank you very much, and we'll hope to see you at BMO sometime in December, hopefully at a final.